Okay, so I'm in the section view here, and you can see my floor, and the walls I've got set to the same colour, based on what we were looking at earlier with the course display. And I'm just going to tidy up a few of these things though, to prepare it for my ceiling. So you can see over here there's a little gap between the wall and the roof. I'm simply going to select that wall and then go to attach top base and choose my roof so that they're connected. And then some of the walls here, you'll see if I select them, they go through the floor. So I'm going to, again, just with that wall selected, go to attach top base and choose my floor, and this one as well, attach top base and then choose the floor. Here you can see there's some issue with the wall. That's one of the exterior walls. So we'll maybe come to that later. That's one we can fix from the outside. But then looking in the plan view, you'll see I've done a layout with these different walls. And so I can start thinking about the ceiling that's going to sit above those spaces. And to work with a ceiling, it's best to view it in a ceiling plan. So you might have noticed already, as well as the floor plans in Revit, you have ceiling plans. And so for each floor plan, you'll usually have a corresponding ceiling plan. And it will look similar to your floor plans, except that sometimes you won't see the door openings. And the main difference is that it's looking up, not down. So I don't know if you've drawn reflected ceiling plans yet. Oh, you have?
Because I did lighting, but these guys haven't done it.
Oh, okay. Right, okay. So if you haven't seen a reflected ceiling plan before, it's important to realise they're oriented the same way as a floor plan. So, and it makes sense when you're drawing them, because you would just trace that over a floor plan. But just thinking about it takes a bit of getting used to, because it's not an upside down section. So a floor plan is a section that looks down, essentially. It's a horizontal section. Maybe we'll look at it in the section view here. Okay, so a floor plan will be cutting through at about this height and then looking down. A ceiling plan cuts through it at a slightly higher height usually, and then looks up, but it's a reflection. So that means essentially it's like you're looking at a normal floor plan, but you're looking down at a mirror that's reflecting what's on the ceiling. Difficult to describe, but it's actually a lot easier to draw than a true sectional view of the building. So if you just go with it, when you're looking at your ceiling plan, realise that you're looking up towards what's on the ceiling, but notice it's oriented the same way as the floor plan. And so here I can see the hole that's cut in the floor for my stairs, and I can also see here the roof that's above that extension, where we have that strange thing happening with the wall. So I might put a ceiling in there. That's the roof. So I don't have a ceiling yet. Yep, so this is my floor, that's the roof, and that's what you see when you're looking up. Okay, and so now if I click on the ceiling button, it'll give the option automatic ceiling, which is a good one to try, but I'm going to go to the next one, sketch ceiling. And then I'll go to pick walls. So it's probably just worth watching. I'll do it a few times and get the general idea first. So with the draw panel, you'll see then that you have all the same options you have to draw a floor. So as long as you can draw a floor, you can draw a ceiling. And with pick walls, I can pick the inside of these walls. Right, and so instead of using an automatic ceiling, it's good at first to try making the shapes that you want for your ceiling. And now I'll use trim, as you have before, to join those lines together. And then just tick to finish. Okay, so I've made a ceiling over this space. I'll click to one side and you'll see now that in that area we can't see all of the things that were above, the roof and the edge of the floor and the other things. And I'm going to go into this section view to show you then what that ceiling looks like. Right, so we've got that set down below the main floor. That's okay. And you can see there, if I select it, it'll show me it's got a height. This was already set to 2600. And that's not a bad height for a ceiling. I can change it to something else, 2700. Without too much trouble. Okay, so I'll go back to my my ceiling plan for level 1, and I'll go to make another ceiling. So again, just clicking on the ceiling button. Again, I'm not going to use automatic ceiling, I'm just going to go straight to sketch ceiling. And then with the height offset from the level here, you can see it's set there to 2600. So I'll change that to the other height, 2700. And again, I'll use pick walls to pick the edges of those walls on the inside face to make sure it's inside the building, not going outside. And then again, if I need to use trim, I can join those to the corner or together at the corners. Tick to finish. Okay, so I've got ceilings in these two spaces, but I don't have a ceiling in the main space going through the middle there. That's a little bit more involved. So again, I'll use the ceiling tool, and you'll see it's with automatic ceiling going to pick up that space, but it's going to miss the opening that I have for the stairs. And again, that can give you an idea why it's good often to use sketch ceiling instead, because it gives you a bit more control. So with sketch ceiling, again, I'll just go to pick walls, pick these edges, tracing around. Now you can see there I've gone to the outside accidentally. If you notice that, you can try using the arrows there to flip it to the inside, and it'll flip any connected edges. And then I can keep going around picking. Again, it's gone to the wrong side there, so I can flip that to the other side. Again, onto the wrong side, but I can flip it. Now, I'll trim those up to that point. But then, to go around this stair, I can't use pick walls, because that's not a wall, it's the edge of a floor. So instead, I'm going to go to pick lines, and I can pick there the edge of my floor or the stair. And, well, I'll just trim it up to that point. You'll see why in a minute. So I'm joining my lines here, and now I just need to close that gap. And I could use pick lines there to do that, but it's probably just as easy to draw a line manually, and you can always do that. So again, it's just the same as you do to make a floor. Alright, so I've got my shape for the ceiling, tick to finish, and we'll just have a look at that in section. And so you can see then that it's got the hole there through the part where the stairs go. And this is often the thing you need to think about mainly with ceilings. Drawing them in plan isn't too difficult, but you need to then think about how it connects to the floor above, or the roof above, and what's going to happen when you have any openings or projections through that, just like you do a floor. So there you can see it's at 2700. I've got, I'm just going to measure so you can see, I've got there a gap of 105 to the bottom of my floor, and I want to fill that in. So I'm going to select the ceiling, edit type, you'll see comes up in properties. Oops. And then I'm going to edit the structure and make this add up to 105. Okay, so to make the maths a bit simpler, I'll make the bottom plasterboard lining just 10 mil, which in reality is what it is usually, and then the other part 95, which is not far off what you would have often for ceiling joists. And this is the sort of work you often do with interiors. Ceilings and all those internal linings are one of the main reasons people hire interiors people to do the work, especially when it comes to lighting. So I'll just click OK, and you'll see now that's left no gap. It's still white though, so if you remember what we looked at last week with the coarse material, if I select that ceiling and then just go to edit type, it's got the coarse scale fill colour there set to black, but the fill pattern is not set to anything, so I'll browse and set that to just solid fill. Click to one side and you'll see now that's all going to show up as one object. Exactly. Which you often don't want in an interiors drawing. You don't want to show that detail, but you need to at least account for it. And so then back into my ceiling plan, level 1. I'll just quickly place some lights so you can get an idea how easy this is. Once you've got the ceiling done, I'm going to click on Component, Load Family, and then Lighting, Architectural, Internal, and you'll find the downlights. So I've got some recessed downlights there. And you can see now I can place them. If you get an error symbol like this, it means that there's a problem with your ceiling. But if you can see the lights as you place them, then it's all working. And that's half the battle, really, just getting to that point where you can see your lights. Just nudge that over. And that's essential for rendering and those other things where you need to have the lights turned on and emitting light into your space. Oh, they're just reference lines. Yeah, just what we did at the beginning. Yep. Yeah, now they can help a lot to line up your lights. Yep. So I'll just do another one for the next level, and you'll see it's similar. So level 2, I can have one ceiling for that whole level. So it's a bit simpler in a way, but notice we can see the roof there, which is a good and a bad thing. I just want to show you, if you have issues seeing what you want in a ceiling plan, just make sure you know about the view range, which you have in properties. If you scroll down, you'll see this object view range, which you can edit. I'm not going to change anything there, but just so you can see how you control what you're seeing in that view. So this is controlling how high it views, the view depth, and most importantly the cut plane. So we can't see any openings here because it's cutting at 2300. Maybe we'll just take that down to 2000 and click OK, and you'll see then it's going to cut through my my windows and the door. But to make a ceiling, it's basically going to be the same process. Clicking on the ceiling button, you can see there automatic ceiling isn't even working there, so I'll go to sketch ceiling instead and just pick walls, pick the inside face. It can't find the walls, and that's common. You don't expect automatic ceiling to work most of the time. It's only when you've got drop ceilings usually that it'll work. Okay, so that's set the shape of my ceiling. But then to set the height, I'm going to do this one a little bit differently. The level you can see there is set to FL level 2. That's really the main difference with this ceiling. Instead of setting the height from that level below, and just think about the way you measure your ceiling. Sometimes you'll measure it from the floor below, like you would in a room like this, where we've got a ceiling height from this floor, and we just want to know how high the ceiling is above this floor that we're on. But with this ceiling, that's not really the important thing. This ceiling needs to be set where the roof starts. That's the way this kind of ceiling's made. And so there, I'm going to set the level to CL level 2. We made a level right at the beginning for this ceiling, and the roof was made from that as well. And so because I want it to sit on that level, I'm going to set the height offset from the level there to 0. And tick to finish. In the section now, you'll see I've got the ceiling perfectly at the height it should be. That's where the roof needs to project. The top plate would be there, and the ceiling sits on that top of the wall as well.
So with the roof always sit on the roof?
In this, with this kind of roof, yeah, definitely. And so the final thing then might be to make the roof have the same, black. Just to make it a bit cleaner. But yeah, that's right. So this point here, that intersection there, is where the ceiling and the roof both project from, or that's their projection point, or the intersection. Okay, so that ceiling then could have lights, and again, back into my, sorry, not the floor plan, the ceiling plan for level 2. You'll see now if I zoom in, it's showing, unfortunately, the roof, but not the ceiling. So I was able to draw the ceiling, but I can't see it. And that's, again, to do with what I showed you before, the view range. And so you have view range. It's a property you have in any view. So you just need to scroll to the bottom of the properties there and you'll find it in your view properties. So edit there, and you'll see the reason I can't see it is because it's set to this level, CL level 2, the ceiling level, as the top. So I can see as far as that level and no further. And the ceiling sits just above that level. Okay, so a good trick there is to just set it to unlimited. So it's going to view infinitely, and I'll do that with the view depth as well. They need to be, well, the view depth needs to be as high as the top at least. So that's a good trick. If you just want to see everything above, just set them both to unlimited. Okay, and now I can see the ceiling. If you can't see the ceiling, you can't place your lights, so you need to be able to see your ceiling in your ceiling plans. And now again, I can just place lights into that ceiling, no problem. Okay, so finally, just if I go back into one of the perspective views, okay, so I can get rid of some of these floor lights now, and you'll see these ceiling lights. If I go and do a render, I'll just do a really quick low quality render on artificial only. Those lights should do something. If they don't, we're in trouble, but they should. Okay, so there we are. So you can see that nice cone of light coming down onto the walls there, so we know those lights are working. And that's it, that's half the battle. With interiors, that's about as technical as you need to get. You can go further with families, and there are lots of other things you can do as well, but this is one of the kind of technical things that can stump people a little bit, but if you just practice with it, you'll definitely get your ceilings working and then get your lights working after that.